What's going on? What's going on? Serious crew. Why do I hear my toss? Give me just a second. I hear myself twice. I don't know where.
Mysteries of the internet.
That's treason. Serious crew, we back at it again with the next episode of the Serious Gentleman, episode number 3, with my dude Tombstone and my dude, they call me Felix. Everybody say what's up.
Morning. Good morning.
Wanted to thank everybody for a successful first ever League of Legends tournament 5v5. Tombstone, Twisted. Major shout out for not only the serious moderators and administrators, but major shout out to the UV community for coming out, showing us all that love, for coming out and supporting us, for coming out here and making a blast that ended up being not exactly what we envisioned, not exactly what we marketed, but for the first time ever, going and actually doing it. I think that was a milestone for not only the serious crew, but I know it's a thing that a dream that Tombstone has, me and him have always discussed, getting that knocked out, getting that visibility, getting that exposure with League of Legends, and we're excited for the next one. Hopefully we can make that happen here pretty soon, but it can only happen if, guess what, if those people sign up. You can check us. Everything we're discussing, every tournament we ever have, is on Battlefy for the moment. ! Battlefy in the chat to figure out what upcoming tournaments. I'm really excited for the next one coming up. It's going to be pretty freaking big for a 1v1, the StarCraft 2 tournament. I think that's going to be exciting. If you have any kind of want to shoutcast a game alongside with either myself, Tombstone, Shoki, Ramazy, or anybody else knowledgeable in that game, please reach out to one of the administrators or one of the moderators. We're looking for people to shoutcast the multitude of StarCraft 2 tournaments that are about to launch. We don't need to necessarily be a professional at what exactly is going on in the game, but we do need those. We need that visibility, and we need that want and that energy. So if you got us, DM us, and we'll get that going. Aside from that, I want to take this time to thank our sponsor, Gamer Grind, !Gamer Grind in the chat. My favorite coffee is Killstreak, Checkpoint, and Headshot. Check them out with our discount code in the chat. Also, you can check out Pulse Energy if you need that extra surge of energy. ! Pulse. I'm sorry, not Pulse. Rogue. I don't know what I'm saying. Rogue Energy! ! Rogue will in the chat will get you over to our discount code to order your starter kit to figure out what flavor you like. So far, I'm digging strawberry kiwi. If you're in need of a chair, I ain't gonna call nobody out in this chat, but you can check out Pulselabz! Pulse using our affiliated sponsor link in the chat. Order yourself a chair. Order mine. It's on its way. So in the next, hopefully here in the next few weeks, I know COVID impacted some of the ordering. I'll have my Pulselabz chair so I can go ahead and kind of flaunt that over. And then if you're in need or want for a customizable LED backpack, Pix BackPacks! Pix in the chat will get you over to that sponsor with our code. You can actually get a 10% discount ordering your first backpack. It's really cool. You can customize the LED lighting to show whatever you want on the back of that backpack. I think it'd be really cool for your kids to come up and kind of step up their game for the kids around when they do go back to school. They're going to be the talk of the town. Anyway, so let's see. This morning, we're just out here trying to have a conversation, not only with chat. We're using a new tool so we can engage the chat a little bit better. With that being said, we still have a structure. We're going to throw a topic out there. Toom knows how to do that so well. And then we're going to go to the chat. And if we see things that we want to discuss and bring out the chat, we'll definitely bring that out. Aside from that, I hope everybody is having a fantastic Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, or even possibly Monday morning. That's all I had. What's going on, Tombstone? Talk to me.
No, man, I'm still hungover from that League of Legends tournament. My adrenaline's still pumping from it. It was a one-sided tournament, but to kind of, get back to what you were saying is, even though it was a one-sided tournament, and kind of what Twisted said too, it was still a heck of a lot of fun to be a part of. Being able to shoutcast a game that I'm so passionate about, and just to get in there and actually start like letting the nerd in me start flowing, even though it got a little over the top a few times, but it was just a heck of a lot of fun, man. And Team Serious hosting that thing, we've already had, I've seen that we've started noticing StarCraft, Age of Empires. We're getting people who are asking for Apex. We got people asking for all kinds of things to be hosted now. So not just Team Series, but the esports world around Team Series is starting to mold itself, and I think it's freaking awesome. I mean, we had so many people watching League of Legends, and we've talked with these people personally, and they're like, we have no interest in League of Legends, but they were watching it and they were involved, and they got involved from Team Sirius's Discord, and that's just going to make this thing grow even further. So I thought it was awesome, but absolutely awesome. Shout out to Twisted. You know, you sitting in there, you're not a big League of Legends fan yourself, but to have you guys helping and to be a part of it was just phenomenal.
We were happy to put it together. We were looking for that energy that you brought to the table, and we poured our energy. Major shout out to that marketing team that came together.
Absolutely.
And decided to help market this game. And we had a lot of more teams. So it could have been the whole weekend had the teams actually go back and actually filled in their rosters, and then basically everybody accepted that, because we actually had 17 sign up, but 4 were confirmed by the time the sign up was cut off. So it looks like a lot of people like to just like leave try to reserve a spot just in case they can formulate a team. But it could have gone on a blast. Like, we would have been talking about the tournament still going on to Saturday if it wasn't because we had no shows and things of that sort, people that needed to cut out because of family, and we understand all that good stuff. But it literally got us all excited because up to the last minute, people were signing up. So awesome. and the prize was pretty good. Like, well, one should understand really these are prize winning type of tournaments. We're not doing, it's free to sign up for now for this type of bracket. These are kind of these type of exposures, but what we're trying to do is actually get prize winning for everything. And then moving on forward, we're probably going to have an entry fee if these continue to get popular. Right now, the one that's jumping big time is, like I said, StarCraft 2, the one we won segment. I think we had something like 9 people sign up or something crazy like that.
Yeah, StarCraft is huge right now. And I can't wait to get involved with that one and start casting that, because to have 9 people sign, and it wasn't like 9 people signed up over the course of a month, right? 9 people signed up the first week it was out.
Wow.
Like, they saw StarCraft and they were on it. And so I'm excited to see what's next. Oh, we're up to 14.
14. Let me show that on the screen. So Shuki said we're 14.
Oh, go ahead. No, my bad.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, touching on what you said earlier about you had 17 sign up. I know that, just doing like the UMG tournaments and stuff like that, a lot of people sign up and then they don't show because they don't think it's new, and they forget about it. I've done that. I've signed up for a tournament and totally forgot about it, or a match. And the fact that you guys did one and you did such a great job with it, that kind of like validates that for those who are kind of on the fence about, showing up and doing it. And your energy, Tombstone, like, to see that come out shows it, like how genuinely happy you were about that game, and like the passion that you show for that game really like came through on the broadcast. I had it on while I was doing some work and stuff, and I had to turn it down a couple times. There's a couple times it was like, shh. But no, I mean, and to see you guys doing things like that, that you're into, it really shows, and that'll bring more people in as they see that, okay, these guys really enjoy this. This is something that's going to be around for a while. It's a serious thing, and no pun intended. But yeah, I mean, it was cool to watch. And unfortunately, I'm not a League of Legends guy, and Tomb has written me off ever since those words came out of my mouth.
Gotta go, man. Gotta go. Sorry.
They took my background away from me.
So that's
took it away. So I got to earn it back. So I'm buying League of Legends and neglecting my family for the
free. What are you talking about buying it?
I always joke around like that. Oh, I never bought it, and everybody kind of like, it's free. I was like, going back to the question we always get asked, what is everybody drinking? I'll start with Felix, and then I'll go over to Tomb, and then I'll show what I'm drinking. What are we drinking?
I had coffee, but I left it upstairs, so now I'm thirsty.
Now you're sad. What about Tombstone? What you got?
Yeah, man, I just got my gamer grind in the mail, so I'm drinking that. I don't know which blend it is because Brittany picked it out, but Dragon Ball Z.
Cup.
Gotta have even me come out, man.
That cup though.
That cup
Right.
though.
So I'm just on that gamer grind too, man. So
Gamer grind. Kill streak is what's in the cup, and I only drink my coffee black.
solid black.
Solid
Out
black.
of that
Same.
one cup. That's it.
Yeah.
He has to drink it, wipe it out, fill it back up.
Yeah. You saw me or what?
Yeah, we were in the military. That's the way it was in the military. You did the same mug for
Hey,
like.
turn off those extra webcams, bro. That's all I'm saying.
Damn, I left the default logins on. Damn.
1, 2, 3, 4, not the
Yeah.
best password.
So going back to what Tombstone is saying, so we had a Facebook group open a while back, the same time we did our Facebook page. I've linked it in the Discord, on linked in the chat, but it looks like the chat kind of aired out. I'm not too sure if everybody saw it. But if you're interested in joining the Team Serious Facebook group, which is a closed private group, one of these fine administrators or moderators, when they see your request come up, they'll approve it. That thing is jumping, it's bumping. A bunch of people are signing up, not only because of a regular page, but people like Tombstone, myself, and Shooky, and everybody else that have invited those gamers onto it. Some of those requests that we're seeing, sometimes that we talk about, actually come from Facebook. Like we've gotten, and I know Matt, I'll give a shout out to Matt. And I think Felix has also said the same thing, that we should get some kind of BR tournament going. I'm all for that. The problem is that I see 2, maybe 3 people saying it, and then when we do a sign up for it, then it's very discouraging to see that nobody signs up to it. Does that make sense?
Did that
Like-
hurt you to say that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So Matt and I had a conversation about it, and I think we have. I mean, the one thing that's upsetting to me with Apex, as compared to most of the other BRs, is that it's not cross-platform yet, and I think that's a huge mistake upon the developers. I know
That's
what they're
a
going for, and I know they're trying to balance the game, and they're trying to get the game out there first, and I get it. But in any time you talk about these communities, or you talk about Facebook groups, or you talk about this group or that group, the biggest drawback is that it's not always inviting to everyone, right? And so the reason why Modern Warfare is taking off right now, and the reason why Warzone is doing so well, is because it's cross-platform. And it really does start to bring your PlayStation guys, your Xbox guys, your Switch guys, your PC guys. And I think that you can do an Apex tournament. I think Apex has a pretty big following, but at the same time, it's so hard because you're having to corner that one side of the market. And
Yep.
So he and I've talked a few times about, how we can make it work with Team Serious, how we can make it work with UV. And I think that we can do it. I just think you're looking at a smaller base of people the first time. Whereas with Warzone, you can just go onto Facebook and say, hey, we're playing Warzone, and everybody shows up. So I love the ideas that are coming in. Like I said, we've had ideas for that, Age of Empires. We've seen StarCraft. I mean, we're getting a ton of great ideas. But like Natso said, when you come with an idea, we're going to put the onus on you to design it. You design the framework, then we can go somewhere with it. And also, I mean, I think a lot of people just say, hey, can Team Series host this? And they expect us to go and run it. No, we want you to come in here and run it with us. Come sit beside me on the broadcast chair and sit next to me. Let me talk with you about your love for the game, right? You can play in the tournament too. I mean, in our Rocket League tournaments, Shookie's always participating. He just steps away from the announce chair for 5 seconds. So when you come in with an idea like that, like we're all for running it, and we're open to hosting it for you and doing most of the back end work. We're going to do the legwork. We just want you to be a part of it. So, when I talked to Matt, that's the same thing I told him is come be a part of it, man. Just jump in and take control. Don't let us take control.
And I think once, like you said, once Apex goes more open platform, it'll be more welcoming, because Apex is a very specific group of people. I mean, the game is growing, but I've noticed that right now it's diehard people that are playing Apex, that only play Apex, and that's it. Like you said, if you go with Call of Duty, that game is a very well-rounded game. I mean, you've got hardcore Call of Duty guys that only play, team deathmatch or hardcore team deathmatch, and then you've got the guys that will play only Warzone. But the good thing about that is that it's easy to mesh together. You say, look, we're hosting a tournament, and those guys that only play team deathmatch, they're like, okay, yeah, I'll give it a shot. I'll play. It'll be fun. So yeah, you're right. I think that that's a little bit more well-rounded. I think that Team Serious doing a BR would only help the exposure for the other events, because you're bringing in like, for example, this is a great example, Snacks. Okay. Lance, he plays BR, he plays Fortnite, he plays Warzone, he plays Apex with us, he plays all this, but then he's also the one that's on there playing Division with us. He's also on there playing Diablo with us. And so you're going to get guys like him that play all kinds of games, and that tournament is what's going to draw them to Team Serious. And then they're going to say, oh man, look, they're doing a StarCraft tournament too. I freaking love that game. And then they're going to stick around and be more versed. And then the way I look at it is only the people that are involved with only BR, and that's all they want, they'll stick around for the tournaments too. So it's not a lose-lose. I look at it as kind of like a win-win. And it'll definitely gain exposure for the tournaments that you guys are holding.
And going back to what Tombstone was saying, we're all for the ideas, but we also kind of want those people that are bringing the ideas to, especially be hanging around with us for a while, running with us in different communities. We expect you to kind of also step up. Like, okay, you got the BR idea, fine, do the framework. We can do the marketing against it. We can do the showcasing against it. I have no problem putting up a sign-up sheet for it and everything else, but we need the legwork to go with it, because the rest of us are all running around different projects. A lot of the things that I'm doing on the business side and the automation on the backside of IT, like we were just having a discussion before this, that they're like, dude, you haven't really been gaming. I was like, I know, because I'm trying to get this stuff stood up, right? So I have to take away time from gaming and hanging out to, okay, where should I redirect my energy to make it not only positive, but to also make the community better. A lot of us are quick to say, you should do this, you should do that, but then it's very discouraging when we put the time and effort in and then no one signs up. Or maybe that one guy that said, okay, I'll be there, whatever, he's the only one that signed up. And it's just like, where do we go from here? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep. You got to definitely, that's just with any elevator pitch or any business pitch, you have to have everything in place before you're supposed to have it in place before you pitch it. But I understand that, planting a seed is one thing, but no, I agree. You should have, before you just kick ideas out, some type of framework. And I know it's tough because a lot of people don't know how to go about doing that. And so they kind of look for the organizations to kind of like say, okay, this is how you go about doing this, and then go do it. So yeah, I know some of it is an intimidation factor of just not knowing what to do. So maybe what we can do is in the Discord or something, put a suggestion box, but then pin a message that says, if you have an idea, you need to reach, XYZ requirements, and then submit your idea. Because then that way it kind of gives people an idea of where to start the journey and how to get to where you need it to be. And then in the meantime, like Tombstone said, he nailed it. You want the people that, you don't want someone just random jumping in saying, hey, this, and then leaving. You want people, to be part of it and, sit next to Tomb, like he said, even if you did a Warzone tournament tomorrow, I probably wouldn't play, but I would be more than happy to sit in and laugh a ton and have a good time.
Well, I think there's, and this kind of leads me into one of the topics that I wanted to talk about today, because we've all three in the past led a community, right? Whether it's not so leading Team Serious from the front for so long, or whether it's me running GST and having a hand in UV. Thomas, you've always had a successful community, just your community, right? So when we talk about like running these tournaments, there's an intimidation factor to playing in a tournament. And whenever I first put out the idea for a Warzone tournament, I called it a challenge. And the turnout was so much greater.
Nice.
The moment I called it a tournament, and the moment we had the discussions about putting prize money up, and we started talking, like, people started shrinking into a corner. They didn't want to be the focal point of that tournament.
Yeah.
And so when people are coming to us, I've had the discussion, I'm sure not so us as well, but hey, we want to run this kind of tournament. Well, it's not so simple as to say, I want to run a tournament, right? It's not as simple as saying, I'm going to run tournaments. There are 11 million people right now concurrently playing League of Legends. it's hard as hell to get 5 teams to sign up for this tournament. Well, why is it hard? If you don't have an idea as to why it's hard, if you don't have an idea as to where to target these groups or how to target these groups, you can't. And I hate saying you can't because I don't like the word can't because you can, but you're infinitely more difficult to get these people involved because you're going to have a bunch of silver players who are like, man, there's a platinum level player. I don't want to play that guy in a tournament.
Yeah.
Or this guy, I'm watching this guy get 40 kills in a Modern Warfare or a Warzone game. I don't want to face that guy in a tournament. And you start to lose those people who are not like, for instance, Sage, my wife, she's not going to come play in a tournament where she's seeing people get 35 kills unless I make it comfortable. So how do you make it comfortable for those people? StarCraft 2, I love StarCraft. I love playing it, but I'm a casual player of StarCraft. You put out this StarCraft tournament, I'm like, no, I can't. There's no way I could possibly compete at that level. So as we talk about these communities and how we lead our communities, you start to run into major problems, right? I've always run my communities like I want everybody talking. I don't care where you're from, what walks of life you're from. But when I say that, like people aren't just going to come walking into a community and start talking. You've got to make them comfortable. So, I was talking with Matt yesterday about the Apex idea and the framework for the Apex idea. And the lasting impression I gave him is you need a best case scenario and you need a worst case scenario. And best case for League of Legends with Team Serious was 8 teams running a 2-day tournament. That's best case scenario. Well, we always had it every time somebody else new signed up in the back of my brain. And I was putting in the mods chat. I was like, hey, 3 teams, we can still do this, 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 and this. 5 teams, we can do this, 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 this. And it's an evolving process to how do we make everybody comfortable? But as a community, how do you guys make people comfortable in your community? And that's how you get the most out of it.
Yeah. And I've seen that firsthand with the newest community, the Shade HQ. People jump in there and it's like a ghost town. But then the second, like I'll put a video out on Division, it lights up because there are people there. They're just not comfortable talking all the time. And that's one thing I really have to hand to you, Tombstone, is the way you handled GST. When you went in there, you knew that there was going to be people just messing around, posting memes or doing stuff like that. So my hat is off to you on that because that is the most difficult challenge in a community is to keep everyone. There's so many different personalities, but to keep them interacting with each other like that, that's like a science. And again, you hit it right on the head when you said that like your casual player of Modern Warfare, they see that word tournament and they go, oh, I'm out. They go, like I'm not ready. I'm not gonna run into Shroud in the first round and waste my entire day. You know what I mean? Right. So they for you to change the phrasing to the challenge, that shows like a casual person that's like, oh man, that would be cool. That could be cool. That could be fun. And then, like you said, that your other main obstacle is to keep, and you have to do that. You have to learn that as you go. No one is going to start a tournament and it's going to run perfectly. You're going to have balance. And for you guys to have what happened in the League of Legends tournament happen to you was the greatest learning experience that you could have because you've seen how quickly it can go one-sided. So now for the next one or whatever, the StarCraft tournament, you brainstorm ideas on saying, okay, if this gets out of hand as far as skill gap, what can we do? You can implement a rule of like, okay, once you guys hit this, there's a way, then you guys can only use this tactic to win, or you know what I mean? Like you'll learn that as you go on how to deal with those balance issues. And if you're doing a tournament where, I'm going to stop saying tournament. That's my promise. I'll stop saying tournament. But if you do a challenge and you start noticing those things, there's ways to go about it, but you just like, it's trial and error. You got to learn how you do it. And the only way to get better at that is keep going. Just keep going, get those people.
See, with yesterday's thing, we started out yesterday and I woke up at 7:00 in the morning and I quickly went to Battle Find. I was like, who signed up? And it was one team and one team pending. I said, okay, well, in my brain, this has been a dream of mine. So I'm telling myself, don't get disheartened. There's still time. People are going to sign up. And sure enough, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, we had teams just lining up everywhere. But at the end, when go time came, one of the teams was there, but they didn't show up. They didn't check in. And it immediately broke my heart because I was like, now it's not going to go. We've got 2 teams. And a huge shout out to the business side of Team Serious that you guys don't see, right? I'm talking the business side, the team that's driving the financials, the team that's driving the marketing campaigns and everything, because they very well could have said, look, we don't need the exposure that bad. We're going to take our prize money and we're just going to pocket it and we're going to wait off for next time and we'll reschedule. But no, instead they backed me up and they said, no, let's push. And I came up with the idea that we could just take the 2 teams, play a best of 3. We get 4 hours of exposure. We get 4 hours of time. And, they could have come up with any of the millions of excuses that you could run. No, it's not worth the money. It's not worth the time. It's not worth this. But instead, Team Serious stood up and said, no, these 2 teams are here. Let's put them in a finals together. Let's let them play and let's push with it. And had they not done, like, that adds credibility. That adds instant credibility to an organization when you're still, because those 2 teams who were there, had we not done that, could have said, you know what, I'm never signing up for Team Serious again. This is stupid. They're not putting their money where their mouth is. And they just ditch everybody. And they can easily go on Battlefy and file a review or a complaint. Instead, Team Serious's business side, the side that's sitting up until 3 o'clock in the morning trying to figure out where to take this team, they put their hand down and said, no, we're going to run this. And that's a huge, huge shout out to them that they did that, because for me, I'm a little biased because it was my dream to cast the League of Legends tournament. But at the same time, they didn't leave me hanging. And they came forth with the idea to run League of Legends. Sure, they'd had talks about it, but it was my idea. And I came up and I said, look, Natsu, I really want to run this tournament. You guys need to hit this market. I want to run it. And they didn't leave me hanging. So, for Matt or for anybody who's watching, if you come up with an idea, this business team is not going to leave you hanging when it happens. So, yes, I was in charge of it. Yes, I was running it. Yes, I stressed over it. I did a day's worth of preparation for it because it was my baby. But when the time came, Team Serious didn't just say, oh, it's Tombstone's problem and leave me there. So major shout out to those guys, because they easily could have submarined the whole operation if they wanted to.
Yeah, and that's huge that they backed you like that, because like you said, that if they had pulled out or whatever, then those 2 teams, the only 2 teams that you had, that showed up, they would turn around and tell every single person that had a team that, oh, these guys made these tournaments and then they didn't have everyone, so they just bagged it. So that gave Team Serious, as on the business end, concrete validity right there, because they said, look, these guys are people of their word and they're doing business the right way. And that message will echo throughout the community. They'll say, okay. And then those guys that played in that tournament, they'll see the next one and they'll say, not only are we going to sign up, but now we want more people. So we're going to try and get some more teams as well. So them doing that, like I said, I was just concrete for Team Serious as far as an organization going. So yeah, huge shout out to the business side. And I know their marketing side doesn't sleep either.
No, they don't.
I need to put my hat on, my Team Serious hat on, and be a little bit more involved with that, because that's what I do for a living. And I would love to show you the screenshot. I will share that with the business side of my Apex video campaign that I ran. It's been running for 24 hours and the results are awesome. I used a couple of tools that I use from work that will definitely help Team Serious out. And I'm looking forward to sitting down with the business end of them and kind of showing them this. So that way the experience for the community as a whole is better. Instead of them putting out all this work and all this stuff and not having the results that everyone hopes they get. I mean, at the end of the day, you can't force anyone to do anything, but the more we get involved as a community, the better the results will be. And so I need to put my best foot forward as well and help out a little more. So I'm looking forward to doing that for the Team Serious business side.
Y'all trying to make me cry or what? I appreciate those kind words. We like to pride ourselves and I'm part of the business on top of everything else. We pride ourselves in if they put 100% effort into us, we're going to return the favor. So when I like to work, I've always liked to work with Tombstone because it's exactly what the kind of guy you need. Because it's like, okay, you always, and kind of having both of us having a military background, we always look at worst case scenario first. And then we start backing up from there. We work from worst case to best case. So like best case, we got 8 teams. Worst case, we got 2. We'll do a final, boom, pay out the money. What we need is a visibility, exposure, but we also need Tomb to shine in that same spotlight that he is. I mean, it got to the point where the people that were actually playing in the tournament had a tab open for us on their second monitors. Okay. And that's because we sit administrators in the channels just in case there's issues, right? So we're getting reported back to the tower. They're like, whatever you just said, you roasted this guy, and everybody was giving that same guy crap in the channel. The voice chat is like, oh, you just got roasted. That's the kind of fun we're looking for. We were trying to roast. So it was like, what, Tim was just explaining, why would you do that? You messed up on this. You should have been doing this. And, they had our tab open. I mean, for the first time ever, we were hitting numbers plus 30, going on to like under 40, like viewers within League of Legends, mainly Twitch for that spot. A Mixer, there was a couple people, but we noticed that Twitch really goes up above and beyond to our other platforms. I don't know. It's because people feel comfortable. We're all over the place at the same time. Facebook was kind of low on the numbers, but Twitch was like way up there. But going back, it's that type of commentator is what they want. But at the same time, those are the type of people we want to introduce. Granted that it's quick as soon as games drop, just like Siege. So far, Siege has been the most toxic for us, which was kind of weird to see that League is known for its toxicity, but they showed us like the awesome people from that community. Versus when we did Siege, bro, it was a nightmare with these kids. I'm talking about, you can think of anything you can think of. Reason why we even set rules, they broke every single rule. And I'm just like, why are kids like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, these are our future, and these kids don't know how to behave. You know what I mean? So anyways, going back and saying that regardless, we were going to kick it off somehow, some way. Going back to another point he was saying about being dynamic. He was not opposed to saying, hey, I can shoutcast, Twisted can take over. I can play a game if I have to. Same thing Shooky, Ramazy, myself would do. We get off camera, come back, do the game, because we want that exposure. We want the visibility. We also want to play with the community, right? At the end of the day, we're still trying to run a business. So we'd rather have somebody say, hey, if I can sit you down, like Tombstone brought in Twisted and everything else. We'll happen to have all these folks, by the way. We're super happy. So we can just run the business on the backside. But having these people sit in, talk about the game, and then having the administrators run everything else behind the scenes is a lot of help. It's a ton of help, because when we first started going this, taking it serious and making this in business back in March, we were doing everything. There's 3 of us were doing everything you can think of, not only playing in the game, but also shoutcasting against it. And I'm making sure that everything's being projected everywhere, making sure the automation's kicking off, sending announcements everywhere, right? And it got overwhelming. So we decided, dude, we need help. We can't do it. It's not going to be 3 of us doing this the whole time. Why don't we bring these talented folks like Tombstone and Twisted, and bring in people like Ramazy and Vicious Dave and Samaze and all these good folks. Hopefully, bring you in here pretty soon to help us on the business side, Felix. But bringing all these fantastic folks to make this happen. It's not just us, and I'm the first one to give credit. If it wasn't my idea, it was like, it's somebody else's idea. They ran with it. They showed us what they can do, and they set the bar. And that's the type of people we're looking for. As the moderator team ever evolving, of course, everybody has lives. We always appreciate the time that they're able to provide us in the time frame they provide us in. Because it easily could say, hey, dude, I'm not asking you for 24/7. But if you say, hey, dude, you have my time on Saturday for 3 hours, I'm so freaking thankful, dude. You don't understand. Hey, but what can I do? Where can I put you in that would make sense for those 3 hours? Where can I have you the most productive, right? I'm not going to place you in something like, well, you're coming up to me and you're telling me I'm a Diablo 3 player. I don't play Apex. I'm not going to put you in an Apex project because first of all, you don't play. You might not even like it. You're going to tell me, hey, dude, like me, I don't like BRs. Don't place me in a BR segment. However, I will market the hell out of it. I will shout it to the world, but I need somebody to take lead on it. Does that make sense? At the end of the day, that's the type
if your heart's not in it, you won't get results.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so that kind of takes me to where we were going. Where I was like, we each run a separate style community, and we have for a long time. And even though you're absolutely right, not so we've said it a lot of times, United Vindication and Team Sirius is more just one community than we are two. Yeah, we have two different brand names. Yes, we have two different people running it. Yeah, all la-di-da-di-da. But we work so much together, right? And so Natso said, hey, run this tournament. And he's like, Team Sirius doesn't yet have the knowledge of League of Legends, right? And so I got an opportunity to bring in Twisted, who's one of my best friends in streaming, but also he's my duo partner when we play League. And to get the experience to shoutcast that with him and to have those funny inside jokes that we had, because, you know, the very first thing that happens is in the second game, the team that's getting absolutely destroyed. And I love those guys because they were great sports, but the first game was a wipe. And then the second game was too. And they were outmatched. Right. But Twisted came to me and he's making these comments, and then you hear them, you know, hear the guys in voice chat, and they're like, oh man, I just made this great play. I need to turn on their stream and see what they said about it. It was the funniest thing. And I'm sitting there on chat and I'm trying to be professional talking about League. And in my ear, I hear the mods telling me that they're saying this, and I'm busting out laughing. And then I get the realization, like, what they do on the professional League side is so crazy hard.
Oh,
I know League. I've played League for 9 years, guys. I've played it since almost day one, and watch it in my spare time. I'm studying about it to get better. It's incredible how hard shoutcasting can be, because every champion in the game has a name. They have a story. They have 4 different abilities that have names. You got to know the players who are playing. It's incredible how hard that can be. And, you know, the Siege tournament was kind of the shining light for it, because you're right. Toxicity came through in all different forms. And you had the 2 teams at the end who were cheating and yelling and screaming at each other. And you had mods who were doing an amazing job of corralling people. But even in chat, you got these people who are like, oh, the commentators aren't doing this. It's not that easy. Come sit down. Come do it one time. I did. Like, come sit with me and try to figure out how hard that is. And even I told Natsu, I was like, I'm going to get this. I'm going to rock it out. I know this. That light came on and I was like, oh, shit. I don't know what's going on. And Twisted said the same thing, because I was talking with him and he's never shoutcasted it either. So it was like trying to lob him nice little curveballs in, just nice, and here, hit this. And he forgot one of the champions' names. We've been playing for forever together. We played for 4 years together. And he forgets one of the champions' names. And so now I'm laughing at him. He's still sitting there like, and Natso finally had to chime in and start talking. It's so incredibly difficult. But to see all of these communities come together and see all of these people come together, I think that's the end goal for all of us.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why I think it drew us together and we mesh so well on projects and everything, because you're absolutely right. At the end, we just want to build an awesome community that interacts with each other, and the atmosphere. I mean, the other night, I don't remember, was it Thursday or whatever? You guys were playing whatever that game was that Taz loves so much.
Days End, I think.
Days End, yeah.
Next day.
I mean,
next day.
We weren't even streaming, and we all were in there. We were all playing. I wasn't even playing because I couldn't get it to launch, but we were all in there having fun. And that's the atmosphere you want. You want the ability to be able to not only come to these events and come to these tournaments and have a good time there, but the fact that, like, I can just jump in and talk with Busy and Taz and you and everyone who's just there having a good time. And that's the community that we all strive to have. Everyone, I feel, strives to have that community. And the fact that we're coming together, and as these communities are coming together, the people that are of that personality type and everything, we all mesh together, and it gets louder and louder and louder and louder. And it's just the greatest atmosphere you can be in. So, you know, that's where we aim to go, and that's what we do. And that kind of brings me to the next thing I wanted to bounce off of you guys is when it comes to, you know, starting projects with new people, making them comfortable. Maybe we should have like an entry. I know there's a welcome section already there, but maybe kind of like when people join the server, we can kind of start the conversation with, let us know what type of games are here, what brought you here, that sort of thing. That way, when we do get all these new people from not only the tournaments, but just word of mouth, because that's going to start snowballing pretty soon as well. We can kind of get a direction on where to go with them.
So
and that'll give tournament ideas.
I kind of want to interrupt because I did something really stupid yesterday that most people won't get to see. We have all these people jumping in for League of Legends tournament, right? And we're 5 minutes to go time. So every time somebody would jump into the Discord, I'm like, "Hey, who are you? Get into the league. Hurry up. We're trying to go." And then this poor dude jumps in and he's got the name TFT streamer. And TFT is a side part of League. Like there's regular League and then there's team fight tactics, which is it's auto chess, but it's League of Legends. And I randomly just throw this guy's name out there and I was like, "Hey, are you here for the tournament? Get your butt over into the chat." And he's like, "Whoa, man, I'm not here for that. I just saw your Discord." And me and Natso laughed at myself for an hour right before we went on because I literally just called this guy out randomly. He's never going to talk in Team Serious again.
Matter of fact, he left.
He left because I like randomly started like screaming at this guy, and I'm like, "Oh no, what did I do?" But it's like you said, you got to have an introduction, and it just happened to be really bad timing with that poor guy. But I was like, "Hey man, get into chat. I know you're from this other team," and yeah, he wasn't there. So my bad for Team Serious losing. Probably a pretty productive member because I kind of called him out. So it was just really bad timing.
It was like also
he was a representative for 14.
Yeah, he was all like, the kid or Tombstone was all like, "Awesome, welcome to Team Serious. Sorry for calling you out."
I had no idea, man. Because it just bad timing.
In the zone. That's why.
Yeah. Well, we had two teams who were supposed to play, right? So when the registration cut, we had 4 teams signed up, ready to go. One team was checked in, they're sitting there patiently, and we've already told them, "Hey, it's going to be 20 minutes. And then we're sitting there trying to get this other team who's been in chat all day. And we're trying to get them down into the game and ready to go. But instead, they went off and did their own thing because they hadn't read the rules. They hadn't read the go time, whatever. And so I'm like sending DMs through League. I'm sending DMs in chat. I'm going through Battlefight. I'm trying to get a hold of this team and nothing. So I see this second guy come in and I'm just like, this has got to be it. Maybe. And then, like I said, just bad timing. But poor guy got called out in chat and he's like, "I'm just here for the fun." And yeah, so I agree with you though, and this is what I've talked about when it comes to communities in general is, if you have one bad experience when you come into the Discord, even something simple like that. Now, I've already told Natso I'm sorry for that guy. And, he probably wasn't there for Team Serious anyway. But if they come into Discord and the very first thing they see is that it's a selfish community or that they immediately get, chastised for something or they get criticized for something, they're not coming back. There are millions of Discords out there, guys. I mean, I can go to anybody's Twitter page and hit the link and I'm going to another Discord. When you are creating these Discords and that you're creating these communities, you have to be very careful. You can't please everybody, but you can definitely turn people off to what you're doing. And so kind of where I see a split in what I tried to do with GST and what I'm trying to do now with both UV and Team Serious is I used to be very critical of people. They would make a comment and I would read it some way, or I would take something from it that they didn't mean, and I would criticize them. I'd say, "Hey, this isn't the place for that." And they're like, "That's not what I meant." There's no sorry. There's no second chance there, right? They immediately just go away, and then I send 15 DMs and I'm like, "I'm sorry. That's not what I meant. How can I get you back?" And that stuff's tiring. So what I've tried to do with Team Serious is I've tried to I'm not an admin of Team Serious. I am a mod of Team Serious, but I'm trying to help guys who are very business-minded like Shooky. Shooky's an extraordinary business mind, right? He's phenomenal as a business mind. But I'm trying to give him my knowledge of being a people person because I'm very good with people. I don't like it, but I'm good with people. So I try to, hey, this isn't going to look that way, the way that you're intending it and their great intentions that may not come across that way. So let's do it this way. And me, not so, Samaze, Ramazi, we've all been, Shooky. We stayed up till 3 o'clock in the morning on several occasions just talking. And normally my part of that is that's not the way this will be interpreted. This is going to be taken out of context. So I agree with you. Whenever you get them into Discord, you've got to interact with them, and then you've got to figure out what brought them there, and you've got to try to incorporate them immediately right off the bat.
And one light bulb that went off recently when I was working with my community in the division community is I actually had Busy turn off the going live streams, the posting the video, even my stuff. I had everything turned off. And I just had this light bulb go off, like, not necessarily like, who am I? Like, who do I think I am that only my stuff gets put out there, or just this guy's stuff gets out there? I told Busy, I said, this is a community. And I don't want any going live. I want no going live stuff. Only things that go into this community are things that are going to benefit the mass majority. Like you said, Tombstone, you can never please everyone, no matter what you do. So I only started posting things that would benefit the majority of the community. And the response to that, I posted a pinned message that said, hey, there will no longer be going live. There will no longer be, hey, check this out. Hey, this. Only thing that goes in this Discord are things that are gonna benefit every single one of you. And that single post had more interaction with it than anything I've ever posted. And it was the fact that it was, like you said, it's not about, hey, everyone go support me. Hey, everyone go support me. It's more of how can I be of benefit as a community to all of you because of what brought you here. I mean, in my case, in this specific Discord, it's very easy. Division brought them there. They wanted help with something, they needed help with a build, or they wanted to know how to get into a secret room or something like that. And so I took those core elements and said, okay, that's what you're here for. That's what you want. That's all we're getting. So I took all my going live streams out. I took all that stuff out, and the community responded to that. And they were like, none of the other Discords I'm in are do that. It's always about, the pyramid. Like, you created the Discord, so all the attention goes to you and your admins, and that's it. And it trickles down from there. Instead, I put myself at the bottom of that pyramid and put the idea at the top. And I think that that's what made GST so successful, is because you did the same thing. You put everyone above your own needs. Whenever you would go live, and that showed, because every time you would go live, they would be there for you because you were there for them. And so that's something that I kind of learned from you, Goat, is that is that you're, like you said, you're a people person. You're good with people, and it's good to see that there's people like that out there, and it really sets a good example for that.
But see, that's two things to that. First off, I want to get back to why we all run our communities the way we do. But first off, I want to take a minute to kind of take that shot, because I learned it from somebody too. And that's the guy who's sitting over there, right? The guy that went. Okay. When I first learned of Team Serious, I learned of Team Serious. I didn't learn of Not So, right? I learned of Not So way later than I learned of Team Serious. The reason why is because they kind of share a logo, but when Not So pushes something, it's Team Serious's thing, right? And even though GST did it pretty well, it was also our undoing at the end, because it became we had too much at the top. We had so many people at the top that I couldn't keep up. I had done that for so long, and I do pride myself as being a people person, always being there for my people and always doing what I can. But then I hit a point in my life where I was struggling mentally. I was struggling in my family. I was struggling with work because I've been laid off twice, and I'm still struggling to find out where my stability is coming from. And for anybody who knows about your hierarchy of needs, you got to feel safe. And I didn't. And so I couldn't spend an hour in everybody's stream. I couldn't come see you. I couldn't come see Matt, who I know a lot, but I know him a lot better now than I used to. Right. And so it became such a burden to me that I couldn't do it anymore. And so what happened was like Not So became synonymous with Team Serious, I became synonymous with GST. It became GST is doing well because Tomb is doing. And then as I started to pull away, they're like, oh, where's GST? GST is everywhere, but they just don't recognize you anymore because I wasn't there. And then it fell apart because I couldn't be that burden anymore. I couldn't help that burden. And even though I had great people around me like Flap, Not So, Taz, Twisted, I had Growing Grease. I mean, we had great people, but life hits sometimes. And so whenever that happened, it fell apart. That's why, even though I have UV, and I love UV, my UV are my brothers and sisters. I love those guys, and I spend my time in there most of the time. Team Serious is home to me because at the end of the day, if Not So goes away for a week, Team Serious's idea, their mentality, their goal is in place. They are not built around me, the mods, the admins, Not So nothing. It's an idea. It's a concept. It's a logo. And when I was young and I still tried to push GST, I always told everybody, it's everything that I do is about the logo. Well, why didn't you punish this person? Because it doesn't affect my logo. It's not my problem. Well, why did you boost this person? Because that's my logo. That's what I want my logo to look like. And I learned that because of Not So. And the hundreds of midnight talks that we've had over drinks, and we drink a lot of beer together. So when we have these talks, we talk about how are we going to run the community? These are the conversations we have. What is the next right move? And so I learned it, and I taught a lot of people that, but I learned it from somebody who's even better than I am. I learned everything I learned about streaming. I think I learned from you. I took a lot of this and a lot of that from you. I tried it, couldn't make it mine, so I just started doing my own thing, but I learned it from you. When it came to community, it was always Not So. And when GST was doing great, I was asking Not So, what's the next step? When GST started doing poorly, I was like, what's the next step? And finally, the step was, GST is stagnant. It's run its course. It did a lot of great things. I mean, look at Lance. Lance and Stealth, man, they're in each other's weddings, for God's sakes. They didn't know each other before GST. So cool. We succeeded. Now let's go into and merge it with Team Serious, and let's make Team Serious great. And yes, I have my offshoot with UV, and UV is doing great things in their own. But at the end of the day, it's a logo, and we've pushed this idea. And like I said, Team Serious, Shade, UV, all of us we all work together. And even though we're different, we all work together, and we might as well just be one because we work that way.
Thanks so much for those kind words. I feel everybody in here feels mutual in that sense. I think we all work great together, and we all have learning experiences, and our own story to tell for the so to speak. But for the biggest thing that I wanted anybody to take with them today is that Team Series is a community first, and it's not relying on one person or one team. And that's why I always say, you want to be a part, you want to go above and beyond, come DM us, talk to us. You want to be a part of the mods team? What energy can you bring? What skill set do you have? Where do you want to see? If you want to see a BR tournament of some sort, I'm looking for you to lead it. We will 100% reinforce you, 100% market it, push it out. But at the end of the day, we need somebody to take lead on it, as there's too many moving parts. Not one person can do them all. With that being said, we're going to go into a Q&A segment. If the community is out there and they want to ask a question related to either the community, streaming, tech, whatever you guys want. If there are no questions, I want to get these gentlemen and their time back. I appreciate them being here. Everybody does have lives, and we try to schedule around those. And I like when they tell me, hey, you got me from this time to that time, because I'll take their valuable, priceless time, very precious to them. It's also precious to me. So let's go out to the chat, see if anybody has any questions, anything about what we talked about today. If not, we'll give it a minute or two and then do our final thoughts, and we'll get the day going.
I think Dave is just waking up, so I don't think he's going to
I
have
think
any
a lot
questions.
of people are just waking up, man.
Poor Dave. He was up so late last night.
Let's move over to final thoughts. I think chat isn't as responsive as usually they are, but that's fine.
They
It's Sunday.
sleeping. They sleeping.
Hey, a lot of people were out and gaming hard last night. I'll tell you what.
Dude, I
was
woke
out
up.
there.
I woke up from my 9-hour nap, and I'm one of the lucky ones that got to take a really long nap last night. I woke up at 2:00, and there were so many people in all my Discords playing games. So they partied a little harder than normal last night. So give them credit for that, because no way I was doing it.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and start the final thought segment. Close this nice, wonderful podcast episode. Felix, shout outs, last thoughts. Go ahead. You have the floor, sir. I think you're muted.
You're muted.
Has anyone ever streamed before? No, I was just saying, like, my final thoughts is that I think everything is going in the right direction for all of us as a community. I'm liking what I'm seeing with the Team Serious business end. I'm lucky to start to see more aspects of that end. And I'm really excited, like I said, to kind of put my hat on and help out where I can in my area of expertise, because I've been kind of dabbling behind the scenes about how I can help the team. And I did a couple like dummy campaigns and stuff like that are showing some great results. And I'm excited to share that with the team. But just to have a community that you can contribute to feels good. Instead of just putting out division videos for some people to come in. But I'm glad that those help. But you got to have, I'm the type of person that is always driven, and I get stagnant. If I feel like I'm stagnant, I change everything and go even further. And I think that this community in particular can vibe with that and support that itch that can never be scratched of progression. Because that's my downfall. My downfall is progression. I always have to feel like I'm moving forward to do that. So I guess that's really it for my final thought. I'm looking forward to helping out, doing some more podcasts with you guys, spreading the message for everybody and really having fun in some of these tournaments that are coming up.
Yeah, I think the same thing happens for you and me both. We change a lot, and the reason I change, I don't just change because it feels good to change. I change because I'm the same way. I have to feel like I'm changing and I'm evolving as a human being, right? And people ask me all the time, well, why are you leading 5 communities? Well, because that's me. That's who I am as a human. And some people like to sit behind me and support me, but I like leading from the front. I like being at the front. I like having those discussions. I love just brainstorming all the time. And so a huge shout out to my people, right? The people that put me in a position where I can lead. And I'm going to say it one more time here in just a second, but Natso gave me a stage to do league on. And I had somebody who was watching yesterday offer me a great opportunity because of that stage. But I'm the same way you are. I have to be doing something. And Team Serious and UV too. I don't want to leave them out, because UV's been a hellacious partner for me. They put me in a position where I can make decisions and I can change gaming. And I feel like I'm changing it. It's small. It's only a group of people, but I'm changing those. And so as I've gone from a member of Team Serious who wasn't active because I was running GST to a member who was active, now a mod, who knows what the future holds. And it's an opportunity for me to get my voice out there and to support those people. So a big thing for me is just trying to lead change and lead and help people. And I get DMs, guys, at all times of the night. Hey, my computer's broken. How do I help? Go see Natso. Hey, this is broken. How do I fix it? Well, have you ever thought about not trying to be the partner? Have you thought about getting somebody else to partner and letting them just be a friend, just be someone who's there, and that changes the world. So with that being said, a little bit of a self plug here. I am going to stream for the first time in like 6 months today. I get a chance to pay back. I won't say a bet, but it's a bet. So I get to pay it back to a friend of mine who helped me. And she's been with me since Chill Nation and a few of my other communities. So she's been a loyal friend to me, and I owe her a stream. I want to get back to streaming. I want to get back to content creation. And it's because of guys like you that have driven me to do better and to continue to drive that change. So I'll look forward to seeing everybody a little bit later.
What time are you going live?
Yes, sometime in the next few hours.
Okay.
I gotta get some yard work done and take a shower, and then I'm on. But
I'm gonna hound you, sir.
Corey Dim Shenanigans, she's been hounding me for months to stream, and I told her if the last Warzone tournament went off without a hitch that I'd put in a stream. I'm not wearing the skirt, but I'll be streaming it either way.
Very cool. Thank you so much for everybody. All the information for these great gentlemen here will be in the description notes. Y'all can check them out. No, Felix, it's hard for me to get adjusted to the name, my bad. Felix has his website and his Twitter linked on the bottom. Tombstone has his Twitch and his Twitter. All that good stuff, information will be linked in the description for later use. You can check everything out about us as a community. Yes, I said us. These panel of gentlemen are part of Team Serious as much as I am. You can check everything out at teamseriousdfw.com. And as soon as this show posts, there's automation that goes out, shoots all kinds of beautiful things into Facebook, Twitter, the website, everything else. So you don't have to go everywhere else. I'd like to thank everybody for being in the chat tonight. Everybody that is able to moderate for us today. Everybody that is always showing us love. And with that being said, remember, stay serious. Have a good day.